Hello. Today is Friday, July 17th, 2026. Here is your daily signal. According to Fortune, escalating tensions between the United States and Iran have once again threatened global oil flows, as the U.S. has reimposed a naval blockade and intensified strikes after Iranian officials threatened to halt all energy exports from the Middle East. Since the U.S. withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal in 2018, the Strait of Hormuz, responsible for the passage of about 20% of the world's oil, has become a flashpoint, with repeated U.S. sanctions slashing Iran's oil exports and frequent military clashes disrupting the region. Reuters reports crude oil prices surged by 4% on July 17 amid naval maneuvers near the Strait of Hormuz, prompting worry especially among Asian refiners. Bloomberg noted the U.S. Department of Energy held emergency meetings with major oil importers such as Japan and India, preparing contingency plans for extended disruptions. Meanwhile, the Financial Times reported that Lloyd's of London raised insurance premiums for tankers by 25%. Near-term consequences include increased oil price volatility and global inflation pressures, particularly for economies relying on imports, as heightened security costs and rerouting disrupt supply chains in Asia and Europe. Looking ahead, a prolonged disruption could reinforce U.S. and Saudi dominance in oil markets, while persistent instability may drive investments in alternative energy and new storage infrastructure. Next, turning to the political and legal landscape in the United States. The Associated Press reports that former President Donald Trump used a primetime address to raise doubts about the legitimacy of U.S. elections and called for more restrictive voting laws, even as Fox News faces lawsuits over alleged defamation tied to its 2024 election coverage. Political influence and legal scrutiny have intensified, with a rise in defamation and media lawsuits that underscore fraught relationships between public figures, the press, and the courts, often spotlighting financial stakes and efforts to challenge the boundaries of political speech. On July 16, a new lawsuit was filed against Fox News for its election coverage, while Trump publicly criticized ongoing legal proceedings and claimed media bias. In the near term, these lawsuits may lead to multimillion-dollar settlements or media retractions. Over the medium term, such legal battles risk deepening polarization, affecting voter trust and confidence, and may set key precedents for how the media covers political speech. Persistent tensions could discourage open discourse or push lawmakers to redefine standards for defamation and free speech. Next, on to cutting-edge advances in nanotechnology. Next Big Future highlights the publication of the inverted mode STM paper on RZIF 2512.24431, which marks a practical leap in molecular nanotechnology by enabling precise molecule assembly at room temperature for the first time. Molecular nanotechnology, theorized in the 1980s, historically relied on impractically low temperatures, but recent research has pushed practical pathways to molecular manufacturing workstations. The lead author, Dr. Xiao Liang from the Molecular Systems Group at the University of Tsukuba, and major institutions including JSD, are driving prototype development, with companies like Atomedia and NanoAssembly Inc. actively planning investments for commercial system rollouts. The new STM method demonstrated single molecule placement at 25°C with an error rate below 10%. The roadmap, published July 16, outlines a 3-year milestone plan targeting prototype demonstrations by 2028. Near-term effects will be a surge in investment for workstation prototypes and new commercial partnerships, expected by late 2026. In the medium term, molecular manufacturing workstations are set to transform precision material construction, triggering regulatory and intellectual property debates and compelling educational institutions to rapidly update curricula for advanced molecular assembly skills. Now, onto the markets. European markets were mostly weak, with Germany's EWG down 0.6% day over day, while France's EWQ also declined by 0.6%. United Kingdom's EWU outperformed with a 0.4% day-over-day gain and a strong monthly move. Italy's EWI slipped 0.4% and Spain's EWP eased 0.5%, both showing mild weakness. Netherlands' EWN dropped sharply, losing 1.4% on the day and over 3% for the month. Chile's ECH declined nearly 2%, marking the worst performer in international markets. Belgium's EWK managed a 0.3% uptick, though monthly performance remained negative. Australia's EWO fell modestly by 0.3%. China large cap FXI edged up 0.7% and posted a solid monthly gain. Japan's EWJ fell 1.7%, and India was nearly flat, slipping 0.06%. Taiwan's EWT dropped 2.3%, the steepest among Asian markets. Hong Kong's EWH was marginally down, while Singapore's EWS lost 0.9% day over day but surged over 7% monthly. Indonesia's IDX gained 1.5%, while Malaysia's EWM rose 0.6%. Saudi Arabia's KSA was flat, the Arab Emirates UAE declined by 0.6%. Qatar's QAT fell 1.1%, and Israel's EIS saw a 2% drop. Kuwait's KWT edged up 0.4%, while Africa's AFK lost 0.9%. Gold tumbled nearly 2%, silver dropped 3.5%, and platinum fell 3.3%, while U.S. oil declined by 1.7%. Agriculture commodities were mixed. DPA eased 1.4%, corn dipped 0.9%, and wheat was unchanged with a strong 7% monthly advance. Copper was down 1.5%, carbon lost 2%, and lithium fell 3%. Uranium dropped 4.4%, marking the worst commodity performer. In the U.S. sector performance, SP 500 SPY was down 0.5% on the day, though up 1.3% for the month. Healthcare Roman 45 was up 2.2% and real estate XLRE gained 2%. Finance XLF rose slightly, up 0.3%. Semiconductors SOX fell 4.4% and clean energy QCLN dropped 4.7%. Transportation XTN and rate RWR both showed gains, up 2.6% and 2.9% respectively. Among U.S. favorites, Adobe Bell led with a 4.7% daily increase and nearly 20% monthly surge. Microsoft MSFT was up 1.3%, while AMD declined 5.3% and NVIDIA NVDA fell 2.4%. Apple rose 1.7%. That's it for today. You can find more news and details on our website. Goodbye.